Welcome to Dr. Jax Blake. Senior Health Tips. If you are over the age of 60 and you go to bed tonight without watching this video first, you may be making a decision that costs you your life. I know that sounds extreme. I know you have heard health warnings before. But what I am about to share with you is different, because this is not about disease, not about genetics, and not about bad luck. This is about something you are doing right now, tonight, in the hours before you close your eyes. That is quietly setting the stage for a heart attack or stroke while you sleep. And the most terrifying part? Most people who do this have no idea it is dangerous at all. They think they are relaxing. They think they are unwinding. They think they are being kind to their bodies. But according to data from the American Heart Association, nearly 50% of all fatal cardiac events in adults over 60 happen between 10 at night and 6 in the morning, half while you sleep, while you are defenseless, while your family is in the next room. This video is going to show you exactly what those nighttime habits are, why they are so catastrophic for the aging heart and brain, and what you can do starting tonight, not next week, not after your next doctor's appointment, but tonight, to dramatically reduce your risk. I am going to give you a step-by-step protective routine before this video ends. All I ask is that you stay with me, because what I reveal in the middle of this video, specifically habit number 3, is something I believe is responsible for more silent overnight deaths in adults over 60 than almost any other factor, and it is something virtually no one is talking about. My name is Dr. Jax Blake. I am a board FACE-certified physician with over 30 years of experience in internal medicine and geriatric health. I have sat at the bedsides of patients who survived overnight cardiac events, and I have delivered the news to families who were not so fortunate. And in all my decades of practice, one pattern kept appearing over and over again. People who suffered heart attacks and strokes in their sleep were not always the sickest patients in my care. They were often the ones who seemed fine, the ones who ate reasonably well, who exercised a little, who took their pills most of the time, but they had a handful of nighttime habits that were silently destroying the very system meant to protect them while they rested. I am sharing this today because you deserve to know what I have seen. Most doctors do not have 12 minutes to sit down and walk you through this in the exam room, but this information is not optional. It is urgent. Here is what most people do not understand about the sleeping body after age 60. Sleep is not passive. Your cardiovascular system does not simply rest when you lie down. It shifts into a complex biological repair cycle. Your blood pressure is supposed to dip. Your heart rate is supposed to slow. Your brain is supposed to clear out toxic waste that accumulates during waking hours. When this process works correctly, sleep is the single most powerful form of cardiovascular protection your body has. But when it is disrupted, when certain habits interfere with this cycle, the result is not just poor sleep. The result is physiological chaos. Blood pressure that spikes instead of dropping. Arteries that tighten instead of relaxing. Blood that thickens instead of flowing freely. And in a body over 60, with arteries that are already stiffer, with a heart that is already working harder, that chaos can turn fatal within hours. What I am about to reveal goes against what most people assume about sleep. And I want you to stay with me through every single one of these habits, because by the time we reach the number 1 most dangerous habit, you will understand why so many people never see it coming. Let's start with habit number 5, eating a large or heavy meal within 2 hours of bedtime. Now, I know you have heard some version of this warning before, but I want you to understand what is actually happening inside your body, because when you truly understand the mechanism, you will never look at a late dinner the same way again. When you eat a heavy meal close to bedtime, your digestive system demands an enormous surge of blood flow. Your stomach, your intestines, your liver. They all require increased circulation to process what you just consumed. Your heart has to pump harder and faster to meet that demand. Your blood pressure rises at the exact moment it is biologically programmed to fall. A landmark study published in the European Heart Journal followed more than 100,000 adults over multiple years and found a clear and statistically significant link between late night heavy eating and nighttime cardiovascular events. The risk was especially elevated in adults over 60. And here is the part that never makes the headlines. Late eating dramatically worsens acid reflux, in older adults, and acid reflux at night does not just cause discomfort. It can directly stimulate the vagus nerve, triggering dangerous arrhythmias and irregular heart rhythms that are far more likely to become life-threatening. In an aging heart, Margaret was 67 years old when she came to my practice, complaining of fatigue and occasional palpitations at night. She ate dinner every evening around 9 p.m., usually a large meal, and went to bed around 10:30. She thought she was fine because she had never had a cardiac event. A 24-hour heart monitor told a completely different story. Her heart was showing irregular rhythms repeatedly between midnight and 3 in the morning, every single night, right when her body was trying to digest a meal too large and too late. We shifted her dinner to 6:30, lightened the portion, and within 3 weeks her nighttime rhythms had normalized. She told me, "Dr. Blake, I had no idea I was doing that to myself every night. Most people don't. The rule is simple: eat your last meal at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. Keep it light, keep the portions modest. Your heart will work less, rest more, and survive longer." Now, let's move to number 4. And this one surprises almost everyone I tell it to. Going to bed even mildly dehydrated. After the age of 60, your body's natural thirst sensation becomes significantly weaker. You can be clinically dehydrated and feel almost nothing. Many older adults also intentionally limit their fluid intake in the evening to avoid nighttime trips to the bathroom. I understand the logic, but here is the medical reality that your comfort is hiding. When you are dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. Thick blood moves more slowly through your vessels. Slow-moving blood forms clots more easily. Now combine that with the natural slowdown of circulation that happens during sleep, when your heart rate drops and blood pressure decreases, and you have created the ideal biological conditions for a clot to form, travel to the heart, and trigger a heart attack, or travel to the brain, and trigger a stroke. A study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease found that even mild dehydration raised the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by more than 60% in adults over the age of 55, more than 60% from something as simple as not drinking enough water during the day. Robert was 71 years old, retired, in what he considered good health. He told me proudly that he never drank water after 6 p.m. because he slept through the night and did not want to ruin that. One morning his wife found him unresponsive on his side of the bed. He had suffered an ischemic stroke overnight. A clot had blocked a critical artery to his brain. His blood work showed severely concentrated blood. Dehydration was a contributing factor. The hospital team documented clearly, Robert survived, but he lost the use of his right hand permanently. He has asked me to tell his story because he does not want anyone else to make the same choice he made. The fix is not complicated. Drink a full glass of water 1 to 2 hours before bed. Use the bathroom right before lying down, and keep a small glass of water on your nightstand in case you wake up during the night. Do not sacrifice your blood chemistry for the sake of uninterrupted sleep. One bathroom trip is a far better outcome than a stroke. Are you finding this helpful? If you are watching right now and you recognize any of these habits in your own routine, I want you to write yes in the comments below. It tells me this information is reaching the people who need it most, and it might just remind someone else who reads your comment to take this seriously too. Now we are moving into the top 3, and I want you to understand that each of the remaining habits is more dangerous than the last. Habit number 3 is one that I believe is killing people silently across this country every single night, and almost no one connects it to heart attacks and strokes: undiagnosed sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a condition where the airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, causing breathing to stop, sometimes for 10 seconds, sometimes for 30, sometimes more than that. In severe cases, this happens hundreds of times per night. Each time breathing stops, oxygen levels in the blood plummet. Each time oxygen drops, the brain triggers an emergency response. Stress hormones flood the body, the heart rate spikes, blood pressure surges, and then, seconds later, breathing resumes, oxygen returns, and the cycle begins again. This happens over and over, hundreds of times, while you believe you are sleeping peacefully. Research from Johns Hopkins University found that untreated sleep apnea triples the risk of nighttime heart attacks and quadruples the risk of strokes. quadruples, and studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association estimate that more than 80% of moderate to severe sleep apnea cases in adults over 60 are completely undiagnosed. The warning signs include loud, chronic snoring, waking up gasping or choking, morning headaches, extreme daytime fatigue no matter how much you sleep, and blood pressure that is difficult to control even with medication. Donna was 64 years old and had snored for years. Her husband had moved to the guest room. She thought it was embarrassing but harmless. One night her oxygen level dropped so severely during a sleep apnea episode that her heart developed a dangerous arrhythmia. She woke up in the emergency room. The cardiologist told her she had come within minutes of not waking up at all. She now uses a CPAP device, and her nighttime blood pressure has dropped 22 points. She calls it the machine that saved her marriage and her life. If you snore, if you wake up tired no matter how long you sleep, please talk to your doctor about a sleep study. This is not optional. This is urgent, and I will reveal something even more critical in just a moment. So stay with me. Habit number 2 is one that almost every adult over 60 is guilty of, at least occasionally, and the consequences are far more severe than most people realize. Skipping, delaying, or mistiming blood pressure or heart medication. Blood pressure follows a precise biological rhythm across a 24-hour cycle. In the early morning hours between 3 and 6 a.m., the body prepares to wake up. Cortisol rises, heart rate increases, blood pressure climbs. This is called the morning surge. And in people whose medication has worn off overnight, this surge can be catastrophic. Plaques inside the arteries rupture under the pressure. Clots form. Heart attacks and strokes happen. Studies published in The Lancet and replicated across multiple large clinical trials have shown that taking blood pressure medication at nighttime instead of the morning reduces the risk of cardiovascular events during sleep by nearly 45%, nearly half, and yet most prescriptions are still written as take once daily in the morning, because that is the default, not because it is optimal for nighttime protection. I am not telling you to change your medication routine without talking to your doctor. I want you to have that conversation. Ask your doctor specifically whether bedtime dosing might be safer for you, and in the meantime, never skip a dose. Never take it late by hours, and never assume that because you feel fine, your blood pressure is fine. It may be spiking to dangerous levels in the early hours of the morning while you sleep completely unaware. Thomas was 65 years old and had been managing hypertension for a decade. He was what I call a casual complier, meaning he took his medication most days, but skipped it when he forgot or when he was traveling. He told me he figured one day here and there could not matter that much. One Tuesday morning his wife called 911 at 4:30 a.m. Thomas had suffered a massive hemorrhagic stroke. He had skipped his medication 2 nights in a row. The morning surge hit with nothing standing in its way. Thomas spent 4 months in rehabilitation. He told me from his hospital bed that he would give anything to go back and take those 2 pills. Take your medication. Take it at the same time every night. Set an alarm if you have to. This is the single most controllable risk factor in this entire list. And now, the number 1 deadliest nighttime habit in adults over 60. The one I promised you at the beginning of this video. The one that I believe is responsible for more preventable overnight deaths than almost anything else. And the one that almost no one talks about, because it does not look dangerous at all. Sleeping in a room that is too warm. I need you to stay with me here because I know this sounds almost too simple to be deadly. But the science behind this is absolutely bulletproof. When you sleep in a room that is too warm, above 72 degrees Fahrenheit, above 22 degrees Celsius, your body works continuously through the night to release excess heat. Blood vessels in the skin dilate to let heat escape. Your heart rate stays elevated instead of dropping into its protective nighttime rhythm. You sweat, losing fluids and further thickening your blood. Your sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented, robbing your body of the deep restorative stages it needs to repair the cardiovascular system. And critically, your blood pressure never achieves its natural nighttime dip. Research from Harvard Medical School and data published in the European Heart Journal have both identified elevated sleeping temperatures as an independent risk factor for nighttime cardiovascular events. particularly in adults over 60. But here is what most people do not realize. Cold is just as dangerous. Temperatures below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, below 15 degrees Celsius, cause blood vessels to constrict sharply. The heart must pump against significantly higher vascular resistance. In arteries already stiffened by age, this constriction can crack a plaque and trigger a heart attack within hours. The optimal sleeping temperature, the range that allows your heart rate to drop naturally, your blood pressure to dip as it should, and your sleep to reach its deepest restorative phases, is between 65 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. This is not about comfort. This is about cardiovascular physiology. A room that is 2 or 3 degrees too warm may feel perfectly fine. Your heart knows the difference. Now let me give you the protective nighttime routine I promised. This is simple, it is affordable, and if you follow it consistently, research suggests it can reduce your risk of a nighttime cardiovascular event by more than 40%. At 6:30 in the evening, eat your last meal of the day. Keep it light. Lean protein, vegetables, nothing heavy or fried. And nothing after that except water. At 8 p.m. drink a full glass of water. Take any prescribed medications exactly as your doctor has directed, and set a phone alarm so you never miss a dose. At 9 p.m. begin winding down. No emotionally stimulating television, no arguments, no stressful phone calls. Dim the lights. Let your nervous system begin its shift. At 9:30 p.m., set your bedroom thermostat to 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Place a small glass of water on your nightstand. If you suspect sleep apnea, position yourself to sleep on your side with a pillow supporting your neck. At 10 p.m., use the bathroom completely before lying down. Take any final medications. And as you settle in, take 5 slow, deep breaths. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system and begins signaling your heart rate to drop naturally. This routine costs you nothing except attention. And the return on that investment is a cardiovascular system that is protected, not stressed, while you sleep. I want to leave you with something important before you go. Your heart has been beating for you every minute of every day for 6, 7, 8 decades. It has never asked for a day off. It has never stopped without warning you. But the warnings are subtle, and most people are not listening closely enough until it is too late. You are not broken. Your body is not giving up on you. But it needs you to be intentional about these nighttime hours. Because what you do in the last 2 hours before sleep is shaping what your heart and brain experience for the next 8. I challenge you to follow this routine for 30 nights. Just 30 nights. And I believe you will feel a difference in your energy, your morning blood pressure readings, and the quality of your sleep in ways you have not felt in years. Share this video with someone you love tonight, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who lives alone. You may never know whose life you just protected by passing this information along. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do it now. Every week I release content specifically designed to help adults over 60 live longer, stronger, and more independently. Hit that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss a video. Write in the comments below. What is your age and where in the world are you watching from? I read every single comment and I love knowing that this information is reaching people who genuinely need it. Your heart will not heal itself from years of nighttime stress overnight, but it can begin recovering tonight. Start today. This is Dr. Jax Blake, and I will see you in the next video.